So the death of a parent is never easy. But imagine if that parent made your life a living hell and you may be relieved or indifferent that they're gone. Does that make you a bad person? The answer is no, it doesn't make you a bad person. A lot of people feel this way, and I'm going to explain why in today's video. I'm also going to share my story with my narcissistic mom dying last year and some tips and solutions to get through it. All right, but before I go into the video, let me introduce myself. My name is Aaliyah. I am a life coach, a mental health coach, and an eating disorders recovery coach. And on this channel, we're going to be talking about eating disorder recovery / diet recovery in a plus size body, disordered eating. We're going to be talking about various types of trauma, including sexual trauma, religious trauma, cultural trauma, all types of trauma, y'all. As well as a toxic family and narcissistic abuse. If you're interested in this content, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. My goal is to give you easy to implement tips and solutions so you can heal your heart and rewrite your story. Also follow me on Instagram at Healing Hearts Rewriting Stories. Okay, and it's going to be down there. All right, so let me give a disclaimer before I continue. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physician, I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist, therapist. I am simply a coach, and I have the lived experience and also hearing my clients' stories as well. So just want to put that out there before I continue with this video. All right, so the first thing that we will do, you know I have my notebook, is I'm going to discuss my story, and then I'm going to break down the stages of grief. I'm going to discuss why closure can be difficult, especially if you did not get closure from your parent. And then I'm going to share some solutions for y'all so y'all could get some closure. Alrighty, so let's share my story with my narcissistic mother. Alright, so my narcissistic mother made my life a living hell. Actually, my whole family made my life a living hell. And I really hated my life growing up because I was heavily controlled in every area of my life, with food, with clothing, with even my hair. I couldn't even leave my hair naturally curly. I think that's why I don't straighten my hair, because with my narcissistic family, like, I had to straighten my hair because they hated curly hair. That's a whole other video for a whole other day, because I think that's also could be rooted in racism, but who knows. Could not wear makeup, couldn't dress the way I wanted to, couldn't wear nail polish, couldn't do anything. I couldn't even participate in, extracurricular activities. My life was heavily, heavily controlled. And I couldn't be my authentic self. And when I did try to rebel and did try to break free, my family did a lot to me, so I could not break free. At one point, they opened up credit cards without me knowing. So they got my social security number and opened up credit cards without me knowing, and I was over $150,000 in debt. And I had to file bankruptcy as a result, because I was a broke 20-year-old. I didn't have $150,000 to pay. They did a lot to me to make sure that I could not get out. Took away, my car keys. They even took away all my, IDs, and they did a lot. So, she also did a lot to make me feel ugly, unwanted, unseen. Really broke my self-esteem, really broke my confidence. And yeah, she did a lot to me. So, and she admitted later on that she was very jealous of me, and that she never wanted me and wished that I was dead. So, I'll be honest, like, when she died, at first, yeah, I cried. And I cried because I wish I would have had some closure. She did not give me any closure at all. Um, and there were a lot of just, wounds that needed to be healed. And we actually found her body a few days later. So we didn't know. Initially, she died probably a couple of days before. We don't know the exact, day of her death. But yeah, we didn't find her body till many days later, because she kept saying things like, well, I'm gonna die alone. Nobody's gonna be there for me. I'm gonna die alone. And I'm just like, why would you say stuff like that about yourself? Like why? And she didn't want that, but I guess that was her fear. And she kept saying it to where, hey, it manifested and she did download. And we didn't find her body till a couple days later. And the only reason why we found her body was because there was a physical therapist that, um, knocked on her door. And he kept knocking, knocking, he kept calling, calling. She wasn't answering. So then the police came and opened the door and found her dead body. So I did cry because, I mean, it's kind of a sad way to die. And then on top of that, it's like, I wish I had that mother daughter relationship. I wish I had that closure, but I didn't get it. Now that it's over a year, it's about a year and what? September, what is this, November 2023. It's about a year and 2 months that she died, over a year. And I can say now I'm just like indifferent. I'm just like, yeah, she's dead. I mean, whatever. Um, and I've even then my family tried to blame me for her death because they're like, well, you were taking care of her for all these years, then all of a sudden you decided not to take care of her. Yeah, I was her caretaker for about a good 10 years. She made my life a living hell, and she kicked me out. So when she did that, I was like, man, I'm not taking care of you anymore, and I just did my thing. So yeah, they blame me, and I was just like, whatever. But you know how narcissists are. They never take the blame. It's always somebody else's fault. But yeah, I'm indifferent about her death. She's come to me in dreams asking for forgiveness, and I've forgiven my mom. I really have, and I feel her spirit from time to time around me. Um, I feel very deeply that she regrets how she treated me in this life. And like I said, I love her, and I forgive her. I really do. So, but again, me forgiving her took a year. It took me a whole year to just let go and forgive. So, but anyways, let me talk about the stages of grief. And then I will go into some solutions for y'all. So let me turn the page. All right. So the stages of grief, keep in mind, it's not linear at all. You could go through one stage, go through the other stage, then go back to another stage, go back to another stage. It's not a linear process, and everybody's grieving looks different. So you're not grieving. There's no such thing as grieving wrong. Grieving is grieving. That is your personal journey. Okay, so don't think, oh, because I'm not going through this stage, it's not linear. It's not supposed to be linear. So you're doing the right thing. Grieving. So first there's the denial stage. I did go through the stage when they said that my mom was dead. I was like, no, there's no way that she's dead. So I did deny it for a while. And even after going to her funeral, I did go through the denial stage for a bit. So that is actually pretty normal and pretty typical. Anger. Oh my goodness, I did go through anger. Like I said, I was angry at her for a whole year because of all the stuff that she did to me. And again, I'm just summarizing what she did. She did a lot more, but this video would be super long if I said everything that she and my family did to me, because it was a lot. Bargaining. So, bargaining. Basically, kind of like you're bargaining with a higher power, like, man, can you bring her back? Maybe, we could discuss it. Maybe, I can have some closure. Or it could be like, man, I should have done this. I should have done this. I should have said this. I should have. And even if you should have, it's not going to change things. So, then you go through depression. I was depressed for a very long time, and when she died, my back pain became debilitating, like debilitating. I could barely drive. I could barely move. Could not do housework because I couldn't stand for like more than what? Heck, a good day would be 5 minutes without debilitating pain. Like I had debilitating back pain, and I was on bed rest for the majority of last year when she died. I went through, like I said, extreme depression as well. What helped me personally was ketamine treatments. They really transformed me, and in those treatments I actually was able to connect with her spirit, because it's kind of gives you kind of like some psychedelic properties, and I was able to connect to her spirit, and that helped me personally get closure. So, so again, discuss this with your doctor. Like I said, I'm not a licensed doctor or anything. Discuss that with your doctor, but that was something that personally helped me was ketamine. What else? Then it's acceptance. Finally, you accept that your parent or whoever it is passed, and eventually you make peace with it. So, but again, not a linear process. You can go into acceptance. Sometimes you go into depression because they're gone, and um, grief is not linear. And honestly, if you can find someone to support you during the grieving process, whether it's another family member, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a therapist, a coach, whatever it is, that has the lived experience. In my opinion, I think lived experience is also very important of going through this, and having that support system really helps. Like during this time, I did go to therapy. I personally did not find it helpful at all. But my boyfriend was there for me, when I cried and when I needed to do ketamine. So I am very grateful that I had him during this time because he was very much needed. Um, so if you have somebody like that, cherish them, love them, and be happy because it's a blessing. Um, Alrighty, so here are some tips for you. Here are some tips for you so you can start the healing process. Alrighty, so number one is journaling. Journal anything. I mean, what you feel, if you hate your parents, if you're angry at them, I mean, whatever it is, journal. Just write whatever comes to your mind about this process. Writing down your emotions really does help. Getting it out of your head and getting it on paper, it really does help. All right, number two is visualization. So you can visualize that you're with this person who has passed and say what it is that you wanted to say to them in this life. That can provide a lot of people some closure. Um, so that's number two is you can do that, or you could even visualize and set boundaries and expectations with them. So that tends to help a lot of people. Okay. Number three is just meditation. Um, Meditation, I'll be honest, it's something that can be challenging for a lot of people. I know I find meditation challenging at times, so maybe just lay there and listen to like some soft music, or just lay and just do a little bit of breath work. It doesn't have to be a long time. Even just 5 minutes or less really does help with that. Or you can even do a walking meditation where you can go outside and just focus on, the surroundings. So that's also another option as well. Dr. Joe Dispenza, I know on his site, or I think on his YouTube channel, I think he has some walking meditations. So you can do that. He did this whole change the world thing last month, and I think his meditation is still on YouTube. So check that out. Alrighty. So number four, as y'all know, I sound like a broken record, affirmations. And again, make up your own affirmations. I'm worthy, I'm beautiful, I'm handsome, I'm worthy of love, I'm capable, etc., etc. Make up your own affirmations, make up things that resonate with you, and repeat those because affirmations really do help y'all. It takes time, so keep at it and be consistent. Alrighty. I think I mentioned this earlier about role playing and the visualization is, visualizing and role playing that your parent is alive and you setting boundaries, expectations, and what you wanted to say. So I did mention that earlier, but again, worth mentioning. Alrighty, so next I'm going to go into some books and resources that can help you with the grieving process. Alrighty, and some YouTube channels as well. So, number one is Dr. Ramani. She talks a lot about narcissism. She is a really good resource. Number two, I personally like this channel a lot, Danish Bashir. He's really good at talking about narcissistic abuse. Number three is mental illness. So he is actually a diagnosed narcissist, and is in therapy and is working on not being a narcissist. And he basically gives you tips and solutions on how to deal with narcissists and their never ending mind games and manipulation. So it's nice to hear from someone who's actually aware that they're a narcissist and is trying to actually do something about it. I wish more people were like that. So those are some YouTube channels that I would recommend if you've dealt with narcissistic people in your life. All right. Also join some support groups. Like I said, find a therapist, a coach, websites, Psych Central, Psychology Today. They also have articles on narcissistic parents. Alrighty, finally, let's get to the books. All right. The first book that I would recommend is called Will I Ever Be Good Enough? Healing the Daughters of Narcissistic Mothers by Carol McBride. I have that book and it was a really, really good book. Number 2 is Toxic Parents Overcoming Their Hurtful Legacy and Reclaiming Your Life by Suzanne Forward. I have not read that book, but I've heard a lot of really good reviews about it. And then number 3, Children of the Self-Absorbed, a grown-up's guide to getting over narcissistic parents by Nina W. Brown. I just find the title funny, but I've heard this is a good book as well, something that I'm probably going to be reading in the future. Number 4, On Grief and Grieving, Finding the Meaning of Grief Through the 5 Stages of Loss by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross and David Kessler. I read this book a while back and it's a really good book, very popular book for grieving. Alrighty, so there you have it. I've given y'all some tips, some solutions. I've also shared my story with y'all, and I hope that you found this video helpful. I hope you found these tips and solutions helpful. If you have gone through something like this, and if you're comfortable sharing, please leave your comments down below. If you have any other video ideas or anything you want me to talk about, please leave it in the comment section down below. Okay. Also want to just end with this, that you're not wrong if you're happy that your parent is dead, if you're like me and you just don't really care that they're dead, or you feel sad that they're dead. Whatever emotion it is, it's not wrong. You are valid in your emotions, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise, because a lot of I feel like the older generation and even a lot of these religions will make you feel guilty and not, feeling sad or remorseful that your parent is dead without them knowing the other side of the story. That's a whole nother topic for another day. But you're not wrong in whatever you're feeling, and you are valid in your feelings, and you need to feel what you feel. So that is that. Okay? Like I said, thank you so much for watching this video. Please comment, like, share, subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next video.